Hey, how are you? I am Chris Robin, aka at Detroit Beastie, here with Team Rise or Fall to talk some Monday Night Football action. The last game of Week 6, the Denver Broncos travel to the Chargers to take on the Bolts, Herbert and crew over in SoFi Stadium. When we look at this game right off the bat, Chargers minus 4.5 points at home. This thing kicks off at 8:15, but we'll get into it in a moment. Before we do, make sure you go to the website at Team Rise or Fall. You can use promo code Beastie. It's popping up on the screen now. You can use that code and you'll get $10 off your first month of premium services. And this is kind of like a right place, right time kind of thing with the hockey season starting. NBA is kicking off and we're in full swing with the MLB playoffs. And we're looking at week 6 and week 7 of the NFL season, and anything you need for DFS, even MMA and NASCAR stuff, you can get it right here at Team Rise or Fall. The study hubs, the pivot tool, the FanDuel DraftKings stacks. I mean, prices galore, and they keep adding more toolbars, which in a way could be confusing, could be overwhelming. But I'm telling you, I'm here to help. You have any questions or comments, and you need that little bit of info to really start to hone your draft skills and the way you build lineups. Do it here at Team Rise or Fall. Join the Discord, which is also free. Let's talk about football, shall we? This is the last game of Week 6, and oh, what a Week 6 it was. We saw the Giants win. We saw Dallas kind of start to make a comeback, but they finished, in the pooper, however you want to say it. But when we look at this game, Denver at the Chargers, a few things that stand out. And I know I said that already. The Chargers minus 4.5 points, but also some of the price tags on these players. And we're going to dig in and let's get right into it. 2 minutes in, and we're going to run with it. And let's take a look, shall we? And I'm stalling as I bring up my super secret notes, which I share anyway. So as this one goes, over under is at 45.5. And again, Denver on the road is getting 4.5 points. First and foremost, let's talk about Russ Wilson, shall we? $15,000 on FanDuel, and on DraftKings, Russ is 10 grand even. When you look at him, it goes without saying, we're going to let Russ cook, and it's like hot dogs and cereal water or Cheerios and ketchup. I don't know, whatever you're going to call it, but Denver right now and Russ Wilson, I won't say, I was going to say Denver doesn't look right because their defense looks pretty cool, pretty stout. It's Russ Wilson that doesn't look right, and maybe does he need more time to acclimate himself to this team? But as a seasoned veteran, two-time, he played in the Super Bowl twice. He won a Super Bowl. I mean, he has, confidence galore, but I don't know what Russ Wilson needs to get over the hump here. So we'll be cautiously optimistic with Russ Wilson. 20, maybe around 20 completions, 235 to 240 yards in that case. And again, maybe a touchdown or two. And I keep giving away the final score like early on. That should be a nice little teaser here, but again, plenty of points to go around. I will say this, I do think every bit of the over does hit, and so you can do with that what you will. When we look at Justin Herbert, the superstar, is he generational? Is he what was I going to say? Yeah, something along those lines. Justin Herbert is $17,000 on FanDuel. On DraftKings, Herbert is 11 grand. We talked about Herbert last week in the Sunday morning video when he's on the road. He averages 300 yards, but here at home tonight, I still think that's a safe bet given the DVP. And I know I said Denver's got a very stout defense. Get this, I'm going to eat my words. Denver is first overall in terms of defending opposing quarterbacks here. So they move a lot of their linemen around and their linebackers, and they're stunting and they're rolling, and they're going to get to Herbert. Will he be able to get the ball off in time? That's the thing. We know Herbert can step up in the pocket, he can sidestep, and he can get stuff done with his legs. Obviously, his arm is where it's at, and that's what we want here. But when you look at Herbert, I think a safe projection here would be, 23, 24 completions, 250, 260 yards, and a pair, maybe a trio of touchdowns for Justin Herbert. Let's talk about the running backs briefly here, and there's not much going on, on both sides of the football. Again, I say this a lot. We know what we're going to get out of a lot of these players, especially the running backs in this one. Melvin Gordon III, Mike Boone on the flip side, Austin Ekeler, Josh Kelly. Let's start with Melvin Gordon. Questionable tag. We don't yet know if he's going to play, but by everything that I've read and I've seen, Melvin Gordon III should be good to go, and that'd be a beautiful thing, even with Mike Boone, because the Chargers are dead last, 32nd overall against defending opposing running backs here. And same thing with Boone. Boone is 7.5 on FanDuel. And then when we look at DK, Melvin Gordon, 8.2, and these are flex prices, and Mike Boone is $4,800. Of the two, obviously, we have to give Melvin Gordon the edge. He's going to get, the goal line work now, and he's going to get, a few little targets and things along those lines. But I think the move here is to use Mike Boone. We saw him last week, and if you watch the video or any of my content, I can't say I was bullish on using Mike Boone and this Deion Jackson kid in Indianapolis, but Mike Boone came through for us last week. So in a single game slate where it looks too easy. The slate looks too good to be true in my eyes. So to me, I think using Mike Boone might be a good move, right? In an MVP or even a captain spot. Call me crazy, call me silly, because we're going to get to Austin Ekeler, who is on FanDuel at least. He is $15,500 on FanDuel, and on DraftKings, Austin Ekeler is $11,400. But Denver 9th overall against defending opposing running backs. Austin Ekeler finally back into the swing of things. He was kind of non-existent the first few weeks of the season. He had a 3-4 touchdown game. It was beautiful, and I'm looking for the Chargers to keep that rolling. And I know what you're probably thinking right now is this DVP is really tells a story about the Denver Broncos. They're 9th in terms of defending, opposing running back. First against quarterbacks, 9th against running backs. So how much yardage and how well are they going to be able to move the ball here? And again, football is all, I've never played professional football. I know it's shocking, right? But football is all you got to get in a rhythm. You got to set a tone. You got to go from there. And I believe that the Chargers with Herbert and Ekeler have finally found their stride. And again, the last game of week 6 here, I believe that combination is special, but so will 10 million other people when they build their line. So I try not to state the obvious, and that's Justin Herbert at MVP and then Ekeler at flex and then vice versa here. If you're playing in cash games or you're going to max out a 150 entry GPP, we can go that route. You'll get a little piece of the pie at the top, right? And then you could put in an off-the-wall outlandish line, which I enjoy doing with Mike Boone, KJ Hamler, something like that, and we'll move on. See, I'm already getting ahead of myself because I'm very excited for this game after what was a great week 6 yesterday on Sunday. When we look at the wide receivers, all eyes are going to be on the Denver combo of Cortland Sutton, Jeudy. As it stands right now, Cortland Sutton, $13,000 on FanDuel, and on DraftKings, he's $8,400. To me, in my eyes, Cortland Sutton is the most important play of the night for DFS purposes. He probably brings the safest floor. Is that crazy? I just said Russ Wilson can't get it together, yet you look at Cortland Sutton, he's being targeted a whole heck of a lot, and watch, I'll have to eat my words again if it's a big Jeudy night, but I think we're good. We're safe with Cortland Sutton at any spot in your lineup, MVP, captain, or a flex spot. I believe he is the number one overall anchor to your DFS lines tonight, and that is Cortland Sutton, as I said. And when you look at his price tag, very, it's doable. On DraftKings, 8.4, as I said, and on FanDuel, he is $13,000. A little bit higher there, but on FanDuel, we need that touchdown equity, and I believe Cortland Sutton will find the end zone, 7-8 targets, 7 to 8 targets, 6 to 7 receptions, 85 to 90 yards, and he will find the end zone. The Chargers right now, 24th overall against opposing wide receivers. Jeudy, he's no slouch himself. The price tag shows that, because he is $11,000 on FanDuel. On DraftKings, Jeudy is $7,000, and we're in a point here where it's like, we played 6 games, or this will be their 6th game. So Denver and the Chargers, they played 4 or 5 games, right? And it kind of the team starts to show who they truly are and what they're going to be moving forward. And for some odd reason, Russ is really taking a liking to Sutton, but in a way, we got to say that Jeudy, has he taken a back seat? He hasn't been hitting home runs, or he hasn't been, doing what we expected of him. And Russ has long been one of the most accurate deep ball guys in the league as far as I can remember. And I do believe that Russ and Jeudy hit a home run tonight. And I know that's a lot of tough talk for me, right? Given the DVP matchup, the Chargers are 22nd overall against opposing wide receivers, as I've said. But as long as Derwin James is back in that safety spot playing center field, we got to keep an eye on opposing wide receivers. KJ Hamler, not much going on. He's $3,000 on DK, and KJ on FanDuel right now is $7,000. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but as of right now, I at least, we can't trust Russell Wilson to support 3 wide receivers. Has he ever had the opportunity to do that before? Not really, but in Seattle, he did have that killer combo of Lockett and DK Metcalf. I won't even talk about Seattle and DK Metcalf's stat line yesterday because I'm going to keep it on Monday night. But as it stands right now, Sutton and Jeudy, as far as I'm going to go in terms of the Denver wide receivers. On the flip side, when we look at the Chargers wide receivers, Keenan Allen, very doubtful to play. He might already, by the time you see in this video, he might have already been, inactive. So obviously that bumps up Mike Williams, the young kid, big kid, Josh Palmer, and DeAndre Carter has been a nice bright spot here. Guyton, we know, is on the IR. We wish him the best. Had knee surgery, I believe, yesterday or even today. So Jalen, be good, be well, and we'll see you soon. When we look at the idea of Mike Williams, he's 13.5 on FanDuel, and on DraftKings, he's $10,600. Josh Palmer, however, is 8.5 on FanDuel, and then on DK, Josh Palmer is 5'8", so 8'5", 5'8". And when we look at DeAndre Carter here, DeAndre Carter, $7,000 on FanDuel, and Carter on DraftKings is only $2,600. When we look over Denver's, secondary and their safeties and just the way they cover wide receivers, they're very good. How good? I believe second or third overall DVP against wide receivers. But a guy like Herbert, we've seen some of the throws he's made in his young career. He can thread the needle. He can get that in. Herbert is not one of those, how can I put this? I don't want to say Herbert's not a flashy guy, but he's not that Patrick Mahomes, Matthew Stafford kind of guy where he'll throw it in a funny angle with sidearmed and he'll tweak his elbow and he'll get it. He just over the shoulder, gets it where it needs to go. So I have full faith in Herbert. And for that fact, I love the idea of Joshua Palmer and DeAndre Carter. Again, could I eat my words based on the fact that Michael Williams will be the wide receiver 1? And we've seen Mike Williams just go absolutely nuts, some days, but other days it's feast or famine. Mike Williams to me is the poster boy of feast or famine. It used to be Gabe Davis, but now all that guy does is score touchdowns. So Mike Williams, a little bit too expensive for my taste given the the projected output here. I think they completely locked this kid down and they're going to have to funnel passes to Josh Palmer and DeAndre Carter. Palmer, we're looking at 4 or 5 targets. I think he catches 3 or 4, maybe even all of his targets for a healthy 50 to 60 yards, and he finds the end zone. With Carter, and I know I'm being a little ambitious, overly ambitious, but when you look at Carter, 4 or 5 targets as well, and maybe 3 or 4 receptions, and not so much in terms of yardage, but he will, catch those passes, and that stuff counts very well on a site like DraftKings with PPR. When we turn our attention to tight ends, and we're going to blast through these last few people, I can't believe I start talking and I look down and it's 15 minutes. When I try to keep this sucker a tight 10 minutes, it rarely happens here. When we look at the tight ends, not much going on. Eric Salbau, Albert OK for Denver, not much I like there. I think that the Denver tight ends can be a full fade. On the flip side, when we look at the Chargers, Gerald Everett has been he's been a very pleasant surprise for us, and lo and behold, Gerald Everett continues to catch touchdown passes. And when you look at him tonight, Everett is $8,000 on FanDuel, and on DK, Everett is a cool $5,600. And Denver's defense, as I said, they do a lot of things well. In their DVP, if there's one way you can kind of get over on them, it's with tight ends. They are 14th overall against defending opposing tight ends. I think Everett sees 4 or 5 targets and catches 4 passes for about 45 to 50 yards, and yet another touchdown reception. So make sure you get Gerald Everett. The idea of Gerald Everett and even Cortland Sutton together, that could be our starting point. One MVP, captain, and we swap it away and we move on from there. In terms of the kickers, not much to like here. I mean, I do have a final score that would be, a positive game script for a guy like Brandon McManus. Kicking at Mile High, the air is thin. You have to have a certain, a certain style, a certain swag to kick it in Mile High, but they're not there. They're in SoFi Stadium, indoors on turf. So to me, both kickers are in play. As I said, Brandon McManus, $9,000 on FanDuel. On the flip side, Dustin Hopkins, the Chargers kicker, is $9,500. $500. And on DK, when you look at kickers in that arena, you don't even do it, right? Don't even pull that trigger. On DraftKings, at least, McManus is 3.8, and on FanDuel, Hopkins is $4,000. When we look at the defenses here, the one thing I will say, final score, be damned, right? I do have the Chargers to win this one, 28-21. So to me, is it all hands off? The DSTs here. You could make a case for each one, and when we look at their price tags here, the Broncos on FanDuel are $3,400. The Chargers are $4,400, and on FanDuel, the Broncos 9.5, and on FanDuel, the Chargers are $10,000 and Denver is 9.5. Excuse me. Not a lot of sleep last night. So when we look at this one, I said the Chargers will win this one, 28-21. But again, it's about I could see each team intercepting the football. Herbert throws a pick, Russ Wilson throws a pick. But to me, of the two defenses, just for game purposes, I would run with the Chargers because that secondary, it's kind of the opportunistic ball hawking kind of thing here. Agree. Denver might get a few sacks, one or two more sacks than the Chargers. But to me, the Chargers do win this one, 28-21. Be good, be safe, and I will see you again for Thursday Night Football. Bye-bye.